You're watching The Penny Hardaway Show, presented by Cook's Pest Control.
It's the mecca of college basketball. Everywhere you look, there's stars, 5 stars, NBA All-Stars, and Memphis Stars. It's Tigers basketball. We're giving you an inside look into what Penny Hardaway's built in the 901.
The Penny Hardaway Show is presented by Cook's Pest Control. You don't have to live with pests. Call Cook's Pest Control and get a free quote today. Conway Services, the official HVAC partner of Tiger Athletics. Tiger Bookstore, the official merchandiser for Tiger Athletics. AutoZone, when you've got car trouble, you want help from number one. Get in the zone, AutoZone. And is supported by your Memphis area Toyota dealers.
NCAA tournament or bust for the Memphis Tigers in Penny Hardaway's 4th season. Hey guys, I'm Cassie Carlson. Ever since Memphis won the NIT championship last season, Hardaway has pieced together the most eye-catching and star-studded college basketball program in the country. From his second #1 recruiting class to a coaching staff with a Hall of Famer and NBA champions, it's hard to put into words what you're seeing from the outside looking in. So this year on the Penny Hardaway Show, we're taking you inside a college basketball program like you've never seen before. Year 4, Penny. Do you ever think back of what you were like as a coach when you first got here to what you're like now and where you see the change?
Absolutely. I was thinking about it the other day, being in year 4, that in my first year, I was a good coach with X's and O's. I could draw up anything, but as far as the overall picture of running the entire program, that's where you need the experience of probably being under another coach. And now I have the experience of understanding my players better, my staff better, understanding how to cut corners in certain areas and just get to something faster. And it's definitely, with the years coming, the experience has been the best teacher for me.
How do you start building relationships with your players? Like you have this interesting relationship because you were a player yourself. You have this fun relationship off the court. But then you also get them to play hard-nosed defense for you on the court. How do you build that?
Yeah, I think it starts with the recruitment. You start to understand who they are and what makes them tick. And then you kind of open up and allow them to know I'll let them know who I am, where I come from, what I've gone through. And then being a player also helps because they can identify. They know that I can identify with them as a player. So start to build that, and during the season, you keep talking, have them come up to the office and see what's going on with them, the good and the bad, and just go from there.
Let's talk about this year's team, because you bring in your second #1 recruiting class. When did you know that you were gonna make it to become this big team with all these superstars?
Well, I was talking to Jalen Duren, and the conversations were getting really good, and I didn't know he was going to reclass, and then finally he told me that he was going to reclass, and at that point he told me before he told anyone else. I knew that we were in a good position, so at that point I was like, if you can get Jalen Duren, then that definitely is like the centerpiece of bringing everybody else, and I knew he was good friends with Imani because the kids recruit themselves. I was recruiting John Camden and Sam Onu and Josh Minot already, and Jonathan Lawson, I was recruiting him, and then he committed to Oregon. So I was like, this still could be pretty good. We ended up getting Jordan Nesbitt, and then he ended up transferring out back to St. Louis. But at that point of getting Jalen Duren, I felt like we could be pretty special.
Describe the balance, because you've said previously, before you had Jalen Duren and Imani Bates, that this year was NCAA or bust. Now you have these 2 freshmen, but they're coming here for development. So describe kind of what you have to do to get them to come here for development, but also come here and win for a city and win for a team in the NCAA tournament.
Yeah, they both came for the development piece, so that was actually kind of easy because they bought into me and they bought into the staff. Coming here to win for the city is what they want to do. They're both so unselfish. And it was just about building a relationships with both guys. And when they got to Memphis, they loved the city of Memphis without even meeting the fans. And now that they've met the fans, they feel like they're fellow Memphians. So both great kids, both very young, but more mature and understand what's going on at all times about wanting to win a championship here. They do know that there has not been a championship won here, and they want to be a part of the first class or first team to bring a championship here.
Jalen Duren's a big name, Imani Bates is a big name, but your core guys are also a huge part to this team. Why was it so important to make sure they wanted to stay and play with these superstar young guys?
Yeah, starting with Alex Lomax, he's been the longest tenured guy here. He's the heart and soul of the team. He's a guy that understands me because he played for me in middle school and high school. It was important that I knew he was staying, and he was talking to DeAndre. DeAndre was staying. Landers Nolly was another guy that we were trying to convince, they were trying to convince to be like, all right, let's just look at what's for next year. We knew we were losing some tough pieces in Boogie, DJ, Musa, and those guys, Damian Ball. But we felt like we could go and replace those guys. And with the core staying, that they could be recruiters themselves and who they wanted to have come here.
What makes this class and this team the one that you think is going to do it?
The talent is phenomenal. I mean, honestly, it's so many weapons in so many different areas. We're so versatile. We can put different lineups out on the floor. Defensively, we can get after you in full court or half court. Offensively, we have so many weapons that could inside, outside, guys that can drive the basket. So this is the most complete and most talented team for sure that we've had. So I feel like for that reason, we have an opportunity to hang a banner.
Do you ever look at what you've built this year in disbelief almost? It's like, wow, I got all these guys to Memphis and now it's time to put something into action?
I thought I could do that coming out of East High School. To come here, I was like, I could build a championship type team. I just didn't know it was gonna be this quickly. It happened pretty fast, and when you get the opportunity to go out and get Chandler Lawson and you get Earl Timberlake to go along with the fabulous freshmen that we have, and then you have the core from last year, that's just, it doesn't happen this quickly, and I'm thankful for that.
How do you judge yourself as a coach? What do you look at to say, am I performing, am I coaching to my best?
I judge myself off of weekly accomplishments and small victories with the guys. If what I'm teaching them carries over and they start doing it before practice, during practice, and after practice, then I'm proud because I know we're heading in the right direction. I also judge myself for how our guys treat themselves off the floor because they're a true reflection of me. And if they're handling themselves properly, then that lets me know that I'm doing a good enough job as a father figure / coach on having them behave properly and be a representative of the university.
The Tigers are 8 games into their season, including 2 out of their 4 SEC tests. Let's take a look at some highlights from Georgia and Ole Miss.
First stop on a 4-game SEC tour starts in Athens, taking on Georgia. The Tigers' prize freshmen worked together to keep Memphis in the game. Amani Bates to Jalen Duren for the slam. Close game at the end of the first. Off a steal, Bates in transition and puts it away with force. Tigers up in the second. Landers Nolly mid-range hits the jumper, but the Tigers fall to the Bulldogs 82-79. The Defensive Player of the Week is Alex Lomax. 3 steals in the Georgia game, all leading to buckets on the other end. Rivalry game in the second SEC test of the week as the Tigers went down to the Pavilion at Ole Miss. First half, balls worked inside to DeAndre Williams. He puts it in off glass and draws the foul. Second half, down 3, and Alex Lomax finds Malcolm Dandridge in the lane for a dunk as the shot clock expires. Then Alo pulls up for a 3, hits the first one of the game 6 minutes into the second half and gives the Tigers the lead. Ole Miss goes up 11 at one point. The Tigers cut it to a 2-point game late, but Ole Miss goes on to win 67-63. This week's outstanding performance goes to freshman Josh Minot. After being in and out of the rotation, he had what Penny Hardaway called his coming out game in Oxford. 5 points and 5 rebounds in 17 minutes.
This staff has nearly 60 years of combined NBA playing and coaching experience. We meet the Hall of Famer, NBA champ, and analytics guy after the break.
You're watching The Penny Hardaway Show, presented by Cook's Pest Control.
The national interest in Tigers basketball really started when Penny Hardaway brought in Larry Brown to be an assistant. Then came NBA champion Rasheed Wallace, adding even more NBA experience to his staff with Hardaway and Cody Toppert.
Coach, if I were sitting at home, I think everybody has thought this. They want to know, why would you, in your 80s, want to come to Memphis and keep coaching?
Well, I like to smell the gym, one, and I feel I have a pretty good relationship with Penny. I admire and respect him. And, he's been after me ever since he got the job. Took a while, but I've just been lucky. I've been around so many great players and coaches. I want to share what I was taught. And what better place than doing it with somebody you admire and respect, and in a program that people love the game, love the sport, so it's worked out pretty well.
You look at this team, and you've been around a lot of talented teams, obviously. What is the upside? How far can this team go?
Well, I think we have talent, but talent doesn't always win games. You know, I always tell kids, talent's a gift of God. You know, character's a choice. So if everybody on our team would listen to Coach and allow him to define their roles, I think we have a chance to really be special. But sometimes with the younger generation, that's pretty difficult. But when you're excited when your teammate does well, I think that's when you have a chance to really be good. For the most part, I think our kids want to do that. The biggest challenge for Coach is we have a really deep team. And sometimes if you don't get the minutes that you think you deserve, it kind of affects the way you approach the game. And I think we got to solve that issue. But again, when you have good kids that I think want to listen and want to learn, you have a chance to do that.
So, Cody, when I asked Penny Hardaway about all the different coaches' roles, he said, "Oh, Cody, that's Mr. Analytics. Do you accept that title?"
You know, I am a numbers guy, right? 1 + 1 = 2, so I can stick with that. But, you know, I do a few other things as well.
When you talk about analytics in basketball, what specifically are you looking at? Like, what are the numbers? Or is it high percentage shots? Like, what do you go into?
The way I always explain analytics to people is it's nothing more than the use of large data samples, right, to make good decisions. It's good in business. It works at Amazon. It works at FedEx. It's worked all across the board. And all we're trying to do now is apply it to basketball. That's finding a more efficient way to play on offense, a more efficient way to play on defense. We actually have our own in-house analytics department, if you will. So we have auto-generated reports that we've built out over the last 3 years. You know, some of my NBA friends have told me that our analytics reports are on par or above at least a third of the NBA. So it's good to have that data at our fingertips.
When you look at this staff, when you look at this team, this program, I think it's almost 60 years of combined NBA coaching and playing experience. What has the NBA DNA about this program that other places don't have?
I mean, you know, it's like you do the numbers and you give me the number like 60, you know what I mean? And really what it is, it's Larry, Rasheed, Penny, and then, you know, I'm just this random guy that's kind of like over here. I'm in there a little bit, you know what I mean? But like, let's not get it twisted here. I'm surrounded by greatness at every drop of a hat, right? If you would have told me years ago I get to spend 8 hours a day in a room where you can write on the walls with Larry Brown, I would have told you you're insane, right? If you would have told me growing up that I'd be working for Penny Hardaway, I would have told you you're also insane, because the minute I saw Butch McRae put it over his legs in blue trips and pull that shot, I was doing it all day, every day, right? So, you know, every day to me it's first of all, I have tremendous gratitude towards the opportunity to just be here and around these people. You know, I never take it for granted. I have experience in the G League, so I'm very grateful for the opportunity just to learn from these guys, to be around them, to hear their experiences, and you know, it's just been a blessing.
Rasheed, most people I think remember you as an NBA player, fiery, tease, all that stuff. But Larry Brown just said you're really a teddy bear.
Well, it depends. You know, people say that if they know me and family and if they're close to me, but if you don't know me, then, you know, it's like a wild animal.
The story of how you got here is fascinating. We know you and Bonzi Wells are buddy. You did this podcast. And you were really going to be the head basketball coach at Lemoyne-O, and then somehow, Penny's really good at this recruiting thing, he stole you away. Tell us the story of that.
I was headed to Lemoyne-O and to become the coach. But then somehow, some way, word got to Penny, and next thing I know, I got a phone call. I didn't recognize the number, so I don't answer the numbers I don't recognize. Then I got a text. I was like, oh man. So I called them back, and, you know, we talked for a minute, and it was something that, you know, I felt that I could do, something that I was interested in, because I never coached on a collegiate level before. I've done, you know, middle school, high school, I've done the NBA, but I've never coached on that collegiate level. And that's what had my interest more than anything. So I was like, okay, let's see what this is all about. And then when it was actually Penny and see the group of guys that we got, I was like, okay, I think I made the right move.
Penny Hardaway says this is the most talented roster he has had in his 4 years at Memphis. You've got freshmen like Jalen Duren, a projected lottery pick, and senior veterans like Alex Lomax, whose relationship with Penny Hardaway goes back to middle school. What have the past 4 years been like being a Memphis basketball player?
Coming to Memphis and being here the last 4 years, it's probably been the best experience that I could have asked for. From a boy to a man, well, a young man at that. And, you know, a lot of on-the-court things and off-the-court things just help, you know, build the character that I am today.
What was going through your head this past offseason when you would hear or see Penny Hardaway hires Larry Brown, Penny Hardaway hires Rasheed Wallace, Amani Bates and Jalen Duren commit to Memphis?
You never know what's going to happen. You know what I'm saying? It's like you always expecting something, you know, something magic, but you never know exactly what it is, and it's just what Coach breed, you know what I mean? And like that's just something that was very, very exciting for the city. And you know, we're going to try to make a huge run with those names and with everybody else around. And that was just, in that moment, was just an exciting feeling for me because, you know, we got a chance to do something special again.
Walk me through when you first started talking to Penny Hardaway.
He just came in, started recruiting me, just started talking, kind of getting to know each other, just telling me a little bit about the program, and then from there, just build a relationship.
Why did you decide to reclassify?
I felt like I needed to change the scenery. High school was getting kind of, I don't want to say easy, but I just needed a higher level of competition to get better and to grow. I felt like, going to college would be the best option to get my game to another level.
What proved to you that they were the right guys to do that for you?
Their track record, honestly. It's Penny Hardaway, Coach Larry, Coach Shee, Coach Top. They all are guys who've been at the next level, been in the NBA, and have seen it from both sides, whether it be player or coaching. And it's just too much experience to turn down.
Memphis picked to finish second in the American Penny Hardaway Previews Conference play, coming up next.
You're watching The Penny Hardaway Show, presented by Cook's Pest Control. Let's take a look at the AutoZone road ahead.
You guys are picked to finish second in the American. You look at this conference, Houston at the top, but where do you think you realistically can stand, and what does the competition look like?
You know, the difficulty about this conference is that it's very veteran-laden. You know, all these teams around our conference go out and get transfers, and they're older transfers, and we usually have the youngest team. You know, we're tipping our hats to Houston because they deservingly finished in first because they've won the conference, they played well, they made it to the Final Four, but it makes us hungrier. You know, it should make us hungrier that where we don't go and take anyone lightly. And you cannot take anyone lightly in this conference because the conference is really, really good. And for us, I think we'll finish first because we know what's ahead of us. Our veterans now know that you can't take Tulsa lightly. You can't take at Tulane lightly. You can't take at ECU lightly. You can't come home and take South Florida lightly. So there's nobody in this conference that you can take lightly. If they don't have a good game, then people are talking about them. They're talking about the program hasn't won anything. And we have to erase all of that and then lock in on ourselves.
That was tonight's AutoZone Road Ahead. AutoZone, America's #1 battery destination and official sponsor of Tiger Athletics. Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Tunnel vision is the theme for the Tigers this season. They've got the talent, but they still have a lot to prove in a very tough schedule. We'll wrap up the show right after this.
You're watching The Penny Hardaway Show, presented by Cook's Pest Control.
To see the inside workings of a top college basketball program, come back to Action News 5 every Sunday night for The Penny Hardaway Show. We'll see you next week.
The Penny Hardaway Show is presented by Cook's Pest Control. You don't have to live with pests. Call Cook's Pest Control and get a free quote today. Conway Services, the official HVAC partner of Tiger Athletics. Tiger Bookstore, the official merchandiser for Tiger Athletics. AutoZone, when you've got car trouble, you want help from #1. Get in the zone, AutoZone. And is supported by your Memphis area Toyota dealers.
The preceding has been a Learfield presentation of the University of Memphis Sports Network. This copyrighted telecast is an exclusive presentation of Learfield under the broadcasting rights granted by the University of Memphis. Reuse of this presentation is prohibited without the expressed written consent of the University of Memphis and Learfield.